Yo, what is going on, you flightless pharaohs? Today we're taking a look at the last of the Malamar decks. I think I'll be showcasing here with the real cards proxy deck builds before the cards get out on PTCGO. So let's go ahead and get right into it. First up, it is the big guy himself, the Giratina Garchomp Tag Team. So this card is pretty cool when you're able to utilize him fully. The first attack, linear attack, the least used of the attacks, I think, generally. 40 damage, one of your opponent's Pokemon for one colorless, and then you got the Calamitous Slash for a Psychic Fighting and a colorless, 60 damage if they have any damage counters on them, even if it's just one, plus 40 damage. That's a 240 damage, 250 total on their Pokemon because they'll have that one initial damage counter on them if you're getting the plus damage. And then GG and GX, Psychic Fighting, discard one of your opponent's Pokemon and all cards attached to it, which is pretty cool when you're trying to get rid of big threats like a big Raichu, a big, what's his name, Pikarom, a Reshizard. The GX attack is actually pretty cool for dealing with those guys. So yeah, pretty good actually. So yeah, and then I mean the bonus effect on the GX attack is if you have 3 additional fighting energy. Current build I got going on only plays 3 fighting energy, so we're never getting to the full effect of the GX attack. Is discard 2 Pokemon your opponent hasn't played. But I think that it's actually super strong if you're ever able to get to that point. But getting to that point, 2 Psychics and then 4 fighting energy, that's just like a really awkward number or a really awkward count of energies to get on a Pokemon right now in Standard. I don't know how you'd ever get there, so that's never happening. But it'd be kind of cool if you were able to pull it off. Carding 2 Pokemon in play, you don't get any prize cards, but you know, if you play against a Pikarom or a Reshizard and just discard all the Pokemon that have the big energies on them, that's pretty good. Next up, we got one of Machamp Marshadow Tag Team GX. This guy's in here to kind of deal with like early Pikaroms. That's basically it. Deal early with Pikaroms. Sometimes it can knock out a Raichu if you get a spell tag triggered off a Giratina earlier, and then clean them up with Revenge. I mean, you can get into the GX attack if you can get there. But yeah, everything else costing 2 fighting energy makes it a little bit awkward to get to. I guess getting 100 blows impact, attacking with that wouldn't be too ridiculous to attack with. But yeah, generally it's just there for the revenge. You know, if they get out early Pikarom, you only are able to have the big thing is if they attack with the early Pikarom and it didn't take any damage at all, so you can't one-shot it with the Calamitous Slash, and they don't have a choice helmet on it. Then you can just come up and revenge knock it out with the revenge from the Machamp Marshadow. Also, even if they do have damage on it, but you only have 1 Malamar in play, can only get that 1 extra energy from the Psychic Recharge. Attach for fighting for turn, Psychic Recharge, Revenge, knock out that Pikarom. So yeah, basically just for the Pikarom matchup, but you could use them awkwardly in weird situations, I guess, as well. The other attackers we got in the deck, like I just mentioned, the Giratinas. We got 2 Giratinas in here. This is going to be when we're not one-shotting anything, we're usually attacking with Giratina. We do play spell tags in here, so we can set up big knockouts with the Calamitous Slash. So we can, like, you know, use the Giratina early, hit something, they knock out our Giratina, we trigger spell tag, we put, I don't know, 4 damage counters or 3 damage counters on a Reshizard. Now all of a sudden Calamitous Slash knocks out a Reshizard. So yeah, Tina is the guy that sets up all the knockouts either through spell tag or just hitting something with 130, or using the Distortion Door. Like I said, like Pikarom's got 240 HP, Distortion Door 10 on a Pikarom, Calamitous Slash 240. Ends up with 250 total on the Pikarom, which is just a little bit over enough to knock out a Pikarom. So yeah, 2 Tinas in there, kind of smooth over the attacks. We got 1 Dedenne for draw support with the Dedenne change, 1 Mew to protect our bench from the Tag Bolts. Tag Bolt KO2 Malamar is never a nice thing to see. We got the fairly standard 5-4 Malamar line. I just go ahead and call it 5-4 Malamar line because Ditto can only evolve into Malamar, and he basically just acts as a 5th Inkay. So it's a 5-4 Malamar line. I got the 2 Jirachi, the best continuous pivot we can possibly have. If you're going to send something up that's just going to have free retreat off an escape board, may as well get a free card off of it with Stellar Wish every time. The energy lineup, I usually save that for the end. Let's throw that in the back there. Supporter line, I feel this has become very repetitive for all my decks, but it's the 4 Lily, 4 Cynthia. Once again, 8 good supporters, turn 1, for us to possibly use the 4 Lily, 4 Cynthia. Just want to use a supporter and play the game, man. 4 Lily, 4 Cynthia. We're just trying to play the game, man. I just want to play some Pokemon. I don't want to sit there, draw into an Erika's or draw into a Volkner and be like, well, I'm going to do like pretty much nothing this turn. Your go. Pokemon Search, we got the 4 Communication, 4 Treasure. definitely a staple now, I think, and will continuously be a staple in the Malamar decks. I've seen some people going down to 3 com, but man, you got to get those NKs early. You got to get the Malamars on turn 2. So really even just liking the 4/4, just remain consistent as possible. No deck is ridiculously consistent, I feel like, in current standard, besides maybe Pikarom as the only thing that's kind of staying as consistent as it was post-rotation. Greens or Jirachi Reshi's art is close as well, but without Kiawe, you don't really get that turn 1 boost, energy boost from the Kiawe that you used to have, so definitely miss that quite a bit. But besides that, I think it's up there for remaining pretty consistent. I got the switch cards. We got 4 switch, 2 a skateboard. Just want to stay kind of consistent with our switching effects. One thing I have found against Malamar decks actually is chasing the Jirachi that ends up with a skateboard is super good against Malamar decks. It's a little bit less good against Giratina Garchomp compared to some of the other builds because Giratina Garchomp is still a huge threat despite you going and KOing the Jirachi with the skateboard. Like against Ultra Necrozma, if you can't one-shot the Ultra Necrozma, but you can KO the Jirachi, sometimes it's just better to go KO the Jirachi for the turn with some custom catchers or other gusting effect. And then the Ultra Necrozma needs to, like, you got to bring up something, you got to be able to move it, and you got to be able to get the energy back on it. But with Giratina Garchomp, the energy will stay on it if they go chase something like the Jirachi. But chasing Jirachi I have found to be pretty good against Malamar decks. Getting rid of the thing with the escape board in general, I guess. But it's usually a Jirachi. So having 4 switch, definitely nice to be able to play around that potential strategy from an opponent. Next up, we got 3 Viridian Forest. Don't mind the Sky Pillar proxy for one of the Viridian Forests. Yeah, 3 Viridian Forest helps us discard energy, helps us find energy, especially those fighting energy, which can be super important to have at any given time. So we got to be able to find those for sure. 3 Spell Tag. We're not maxing out Spell Tag here because they're not essential in every matchup and not necessary at all points, but it does help us kind of smooth over our way that we prize trade. Getting one of these on a Giratina, using Giratina to punch Pikarom, they KO it, we put 4 on the Raichu that they plan to use on the next turn, or they use to KO the Giratina, and then we bring up our Garchomp Giratina tag team, and then we knock them out. So yeah, the spell tags really help us keep up with the prize trading, making sure we can knock out what we want when we want. Yeah, so we've got 3 spell tags in there for that. Not max out to 4, definitely something to consider possibly, but I think 3 is actually more than enough. 4 Acrobike, just trying to stay consistent. This list is pretty straightforward as far as a Malamar engine can go. I mean, more Jirachis would be okay. There's no stamp in this build right now, just because I've been trying to max consistency in the deck, but I could definitely see cutting a switch or something for a stamp, maybe an Acrobike for a little bit more late game comeback potential. So that would definitely be something to possibly include. More Jirachis, maybe a stamp, and then yeah, we got the 7/3 on the energy, 7 psychic, 3 fighting to close out the list here. And yeah, that pretty much does it. This is definitely the build of Malamar I have played the least amount of games with. Not a whole ton changes as far as the engine goes. As you guys can see, the engine is pretty similar to the other Malamar decks I've showcased. Not a whole lot changes there. But the attackers are a little bit different, the energy count's a little bit different. That's about it. Very similar to the Ultra Necrozma build actually. But yeah, I thought I'd go ahead and show this list off as well for you guys, let you guys see all my thoughts on all of Malamar decks so far. These are the 3 that I have heard about the most, played with myself, and built and played with. I don't know about any other Malamar variants. I'll probably do it for the Malamar variants from here for these kind of videos. Once we get cards on PTCGO, we'll see more Malamar. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to give it a like. If you're enjoying the content, be sure to subscribe. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. What's your favorite variant of Malamar? As always, do you guys think I missed any major cards in here? I already kind of talked about maybe more Jirachis and some stamps, some reset stamps could be good for sure. But if I missed anything besides those that you guys think I should consider, or that you guys have been finding to be super good in the Malamar decks, let me know in the comment section down below. Be sure to check out deaddrawgaming.com if you're looking to purchase singles from Unified Minds or code cards for PTCGO. Use code Azul for 5% off. That's all I got, guys. Have a good day. Thanks for watching, and peace.